Welcome to the Beyond Jiujitsu Podcast. For the long-time listeners and viewers on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, this may be a bit weird. We have a different format, and the cat's out of the bag. We have Jordan from Jordan Teaches Jiujitsu here on the podcast, but I've replaced Adam with Jordan. A bit of an upgrade, if you ask me, as the co-host today for the Beyond Jiu-Jitsu podcast. But no, in all seriousness, we're recording this at about 10:30 at night Australian time, just because of the way time zones are. This is the best time to get Jordan on the show. So Jordan, it's been a long time coming. Thank you so much, and welcome to the Beyond Jiu-Jitsu podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm a big fan of the podcast. You and Adam do a great job, and yeah, I'm excited to be on here.
Yeah, man. So, I think the theme of today's episode is going to unravel itself pretty quickly. But just for those that don't know who you are, and shame on those people, but just give the listeners a quick rundown on who is Jordan from Jordan Teaches Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, I'm a jiu-jitsu black belt. I've been training 10 years, and I've owned my own gym for 7.5 of those 10 years. So, well, I've been training 10.5 years. So I've been I ran my own gym for, the majority of my jiu-jitsu career. So, quite a while. So kind of seen really learned how to teach people and really seen everything, so many things I want to share with the world and, help people out with their jiu-jitsu. So, I've been teaching a long time, training a long time, and run a YouTube channel, Jordan Teaches Jiu-Jitsu. I also have my own podcast, Jordan Talks Jiu-Jitsu, and the goal of it is just to teach people jiu-jitsu, not only in technique itself, but also just good jiu-jitsu culture, good jiu-jitsu philosophy, and conceptual type stuff too.
And you're definitely making the rounds around the world. I think I've told you this before, but it's a good one to say on the podcast. I remember, I think it may have been the first time someone introduced me. Like, obviously I knew who you were, because for just to give a little bit of a backstory, I've been following you, vice versa. I think I was in your first maybe 200 subscribers, something around there. We've been going back and forth on Instagram and YouTube for, man, it's literally over a year now, probably a year and a half, so quite a while. And I remember the first time someone told me about Jordan Teaches Jiu-Jitsu. It was one of my training partners. He's like, "Oh man, check out this video. I saw this guy on YouTube," and he was showing me the video. I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's so cool." That's randomly, one of my training partners at Alliance just came up and showed me your channel. So you're definitely getting around there, which is absolutely fantastic. So if you haven't seen Jordan's YouTube channel, you should 100% check it out. And funnily enough, no word of the lie, I'm not even making this up. For those that listen regularly to podcast, they'll know who Anthony is. Anthony's a blue belt that trains at our gym. And he even came up to me today and said, "Oh, I've started to really get into all of Jordan's stuff." And this guy is synonymous for just consuming all manner of instructionals and YouTube content. So yeah, man, you're definitely very, very, you're becoming very renowned in the jiu-jitsu space, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. All my hard work's paid off. And, this is what I really wanted for myself, is to, be a figure in jiu-jitsu that, helps people out and, teaches everyone, and highly regarded for that. So it's just amazing that it actually has came true, and so many people actually watch my videos and enjoy them.
Yeah, for good reason, man. And am I correct in saying that you actually opened your gym as a blue belt?
Yeah, I opened up as a blue belt because basically what happened was I was going to a CrossFit gym. They asked me do you want to run a grappling program? So I'm like, okay, I want to open a gym eventually, so I don't want to pass up this opportunity. And then it quickly went from running a small grappling program to a real gym, because we outgrew them so fast. So yeah, people are always really surprised by that. But it's I'm really glad it happened that way, because I had the ability to really learn how to teach for so long, because teaching itself is such a skill. There's a lot of great practitioners out there, but I think there's more great practitioners than there are great teachers out there. So yeah, I've been honing my skill for a long time, and really utilizing that to grow the YouTube channel.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's something to be said where, a lot of jiu-jitsu pros out there, pro jiu-jitsu athletes, if you would approach them about their A game and ask them specifically, why do you do this here? Or why do you why do you specifically put your hand here or go for that grip over this grip? You know, most of them, obviously they'll be able to give you some form of answer, but some of the time it may be, oh, I just do, and it works. You know what I mean? So I think being a jiu-jitsu teacher is being able to articulate that not only, you know, in one way so it makes sense to yourself, but to be able to explain it to all manner of people. So yeah, totally, definitely a skill. So kudos to you, man. Like opening a gym at Blue Belt, that's crazy. That's awesome, and as successful as it's become. It's you know, insane, man. That's such a story.
Yeah, it worked out great for me. I mean, everyone thought I was crazy doing it, and I thought I was too.
It is a little bit, yeah. So crazy it might work.
Exactly, because now it's amazing. Because now I'm a black belt, I have all these other higher belts to train with, and you know, but if I opened it up as a black belt now, I just have all these white belts. So it's like it worked out so good for me, great for them, and yeah, like you said, a lot of like high level, you know, practitioners, they like, or even any practitioners, they don't always know why they do things, or they just a lot of times they do things the way they were taught, and they teach them the way they were taught. And you know, I really have always taught what I do, you know, and I really always been really you know, thinking about why I do this, why I do that. So like, you know, everyone's really benefited from like my like obsession of trying to like, you know, perfect my technique and perfect my jiu-jitsu.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, I think that I mean, I've been alluding to this for a little while on the Beyond Jiu-Jitsu podcast. I mean, and Instagram. So those that have been following carefully, you know, this is not going to come to a surprise. But I think the cat's out of the bag. The purpose for this podcast, and specifically the reason why we're doing it in this way with Jordan and I, like in this format, is we're actually releasing a jiu-jitsu course. So this is sort of my opportunity to talk to Jordan about his side of the course. It's a collaboration between Jordan and myself, and this is the first time I'm sort of announcing it on my platform officially. So it's the Jiu-Jitsu Longevity and Performance course, and being a black belt and being the expert that he is, Jordan's side of the course, your side of the course, Jordan, is all about the longevity and staying safe on the mats. So noting that it's in the title, what is Jiu-Jitsu longevity, and why do you think it's important? So start us off with what is Jiu-Jitsu longevity?
Yeah, so jiu-jitsu longevity is just being able to train for as long as possible at you know, at like a really good ability to be able to do so, because some people can train for a long time, but you know, injuries really they add up and they can't really train properly. Maybe they can only roll hard or roll even once a week, even light. So, you know, I always use the example of like my dad, because my dad he just turned 60, but he does CrossFit. He like runs with like logs. That's what he finds fun. I don't know why he does that, but he really enjoys that. Yeah, like a wooden log and just run with it. And he'll go for like long bike rides, everything, do all these things that people in their 20s, you know, don't do or can't do. And, you know, if he can do all that stuff, I know he could do jiu-jitsu if he wanted to, but he doesn't have any interest in jiu-jitsu. So I know if I take care of my body the way he takes care of his, then I can be training at his age and be doing just fine against all the young bucks, because, you know, he outlifts all these younger guys, no problem. So, you know, yeah, at his age, he's 60 years old and is jacked and, you know, doing great. I want to be 60 years old doing the same, because I want to train forever, right? We do this hobby of jiu-jitsu because we love it. And why would we only want to do it for like, you know, 10 years, 15 years, or even less? Because we got injured and didn't take care of our bodies, right? So it's so attainable, I think, to be able to train for a long time. And but it has to be done through smart training, right? So I know a lot of people that didn't train smart at all, and then now they have a really hard time training. So, you know, like, or they don't train altogether, right? They have to quit. So, you know, like I've injured myself so many times as a lower belt. I just trained like so not intelligently, and I really learned from all my mistakes. And I've heard people too, you know, like one of my best friends, Joey, he's also a co-host on the podcast. I tried to do a hip throw on him and his foot got caught in the mat. And when I went to take him down, so his foot was caught, but his body went anyways. So his knee was completely turned the other way. And it was just the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. And, you know, it's like, yeah. And I felt so bad. Like, it's my fault. You know, I shouldn't have tried to force that takedown. But in my mind, I was just like, okay, I'll go hard for this takedown and I'll get it. But I didn't really realize, okay, his tippy toes, like not on his tippy toes, his foot's planted, like there's no the takedown isn't there. I can't go for that. So, I don't want like people to make the same mistakes I've made, like not just in my jiu-jitsu, in techniques, instruction, and stuff like that. When it comes to safety too, hurting themselves and, hurting other people. So yeah, it's so important to me. People can train for forever, and it is attainable, again, as long as you have the correct approach. So I thought it was important to put something together that taught everyone the mistakes that I've made.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, it's rough. Like everyone, I think if you've trained long enough, everyone's had some sort of experience with injury, either themselves being injured or probably the worst in a lot of ways, injuring someone else. I've had something similar where I've caused a training partner an injury that had him off the mats for like 6 months, and he never ended up coming back to the gym. And it was something that was completely avoidable, a mistake that I made. And yeah, it sucks, man. Yeah, particularly when you do it to good training partners and friends, and it's it can be very rough. So basically, the scenario was I don't think I've actually officially. I don't know if I've spoken about this on the podcast. I may have like a long time ago, but I'm still a bit. I still feel bad. It was over a year ago. It was when I was a white belt, and I was actually filming for YouTube. And whenever you bring the camera out, everyone decides This probably doesn't happen to you because you're the top of the food chain, and it wouldn't matter anyway. But at my gym, whenever the camera comes out, people know that they're going to be on YouTube, so they go extra hard and try to look good on camera and everything like that. So I was rolling with this blue belt, and I was a white belt at the time. I had him in north south, and I had a Kimura grip cinched up pretty tight, and he just wasn't letting go of his grip. And instead of, I knew I was stronger than this guy, and instead of trying to like technically pop his grip, I was trying like a Andre Galvao grip break, where he builds tension and then like sort of snaps it off aggressively. And instead of like just pushing it forward to snap the grip, I pushed it forward and brought it up at the same time. So I brought his arm up on a bit of an angle, and I tore his rotator cuff, and his pec as well. So yeah, and then obviously took the Kimura. He yelled out pretty quick, but it was a pretty awkward situation. I have it on camera, and I've literally never published it, and definitely never will. So it's pretty bad. I still felt bad. So shout out to that person if they are listening. They're probably not.
Yeah, well, I mean, from that experience, I'm sure you've learned, not to do that and to be more careful.
Oh, yeah.
So, it sucks for him. Like it sucks for him. You had to learn through his expense, and that's the kind of thing that the whole course is about. It's like, all these things I've done to myself at my expense or hurt other people at their expense. We can limit that so people don't have to make those same mistakes.
Yeah, totally. And I think it would just create a not only more safe environment for other people, but also for yourself. So not to give too much away, but I mean, I've gone through your section of the course and I've learned a shitload. So there's definitely positions that are very common for jiu-jitsu. Like take the truck, for example, very, very common, like pretty in vogue at the moment. Definitely ironically enough, the reason I'm tunneling in on this one specifically is there's a guy or a couple of guys at my gym that are obsessed with the truck and Kimura traps at the moment. It's almost like a running joke. So, the inside joke, they'll get it. But even in that position, you can cause some serious harm to your opponent's knees if you aren't careful with the way you're applying that, and be careful of like twisting your training partner. And obviously, you don't want to be hurting people through carelessness or mistakes.
Yeah, that's exactly it, because you can hold the truck very safely and not hurt someone, or you can start putting a twist in their leg and their knee and then hurt them. Because Nikki had had that happen to her. Like my wife, she had her LCL torn because the person had her in the truck, and they just weren't controlling it properly. They're putting too much pressure on her leg. But when I put people in the truck, I feel zero danger for them because I know how to do it right. So if I can teach people how to do it the correct way and teach them what actually can hurt someone, then people are going to get hurt less. And jiu-jitsu has such such a reputation for being a dangerous thing, and I don't think it's any dangerous than any other sport. Like I don't feel in danger whatsoever when I roll. I feel super safe. I feel like like personally, I don't think I'm gonna have a major injury for a really long time. And if I do, it's gonna be like a freak accident that I couldn't avoid. It's because I just know how to move, how to position myself correctly, how to, you know, do everything right to avoid like super common injuries. And before I didn't, and before I got hurt all the time, and I would just keep training anyways. And thank God, like my body, recovered and everything. And but I've had like knee surgery before, had like a really bad neck, and had to like go to the chiropractor all the time. And yeah, I'm just glad like my body's like super healthy now.
Yeah, totally. I could totally echo that. I mean, very, very fortunate in my jiu-jitsu career so far. I've only had a couple of niggles, really, like things that keep me off the mat for like 2 months maximum. No surgeries, nothing like that. So yeah, but I mean, if you're not focusing on the attention to safety, not because I mean, jiu-jitsu at the end of the day, like it's an art form, it's a sport that's designed to incapacitate your opponent. So in the very nature of it, we're sort of flirting with a line there. But if you have an emphasis on safety of your training partners in your gym, then you can thicken that line, so to speak. So why do you think that there is a gap in people's knowledge of safety in jiu-jitsu positions? Why do so many people, like using the truck example, go for when they're going for something like a banana split submission? Or why do you think there's not as much of an emphasis on the safety aspect in the actual teaching of jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, that's a great question, and for a lot of reasons. And one is just like, I think overall, like jiu-jitsu instruction isn't that great right now. I think it's going to get better, and it is getting better. But like just overall, I think a lot of instructors could do a better job. And one thing they don't often teach at all is safety. Like they'll just show a move, but they don't say like, don't do this or don't do that, or you can get hurt, or don't do this, don't do that. Your opponent can get hurt. Because like, for example, like I was teaching just a dogfight last night at class, and showing people, if they have their leg like extended out when you try to wrestle them down, you can hurt their knees. So you got to make sure it's folded. So if it's not folded, don't keep driving. And the person getting swept, if they don't keep their leg folded, they can get hurt, right? If they have it extended. So it's hard to like, it's hard for people to visualize what I mean, but it's in the course, and I go over it thoroughly. And I went over safety in that scenario because I don't want anyone to get hurt for a lot of reasons. One, I care about my training partners. I care about, people in general. And I also don't want people getting hurt, have to, cancel their memberships, thinking jiu-jitsu is not safe, all that kind of stuff. So there's, so much responsibility to keep people safe. I just think that, it's just, that's not a priority in most gyms. It's like a lot of gyms don't even talk about like tapping etiquette and like how you should go slow. Like I see a lot of times, like on YouTube, especially, I'll see like, other commentator roles, and like doing the kind of stuff I do. And like when they go for submissions, they just like go so hard right away. And like when you look at mine, I go so slow on the submissions. Like you can pull out something fast, and that's fine. Like you can break like an armbar grip, fine. But once you actually go to like start extending it, it has to be slow. And if you can finish slow, you can finish fast. So yeah, I just think there's not like, I don't know if jiu-jitsu instructors just don't think about it, or if it's just they weren't taught that way. They just were taught this is the move. But like, yeah, there's a lot of problem in jiu-jitsu instruction in general. It's like, not to go off topic, but like, just like conceptual type stuff and what I call jiu-jitsu theory. And like, just like my inside position video I just posted, how to literally never get submitted. It's like no one ever talks about that stuff, and I've never seen that taught in actual class. So I just think jiu-jitsu instruction in general needs to improve. So that's what I feel like I'm doing a YouTube channel. It's like, I know a lot of instructors watch my stuff, and they got ideas how to teach their students. And so I want to keep pushing the safety aspect of it too. Like that's something that's really important to me. It's like every video, like I really talk about safety. Any chance I get, I talk about, this is going to be dangerous to do that. And yeah, I think that, it's just the way it is. Just instruction isn't that great right now. And I think one problem too, like maybe a lot of instructors don't own the gym too. I think if you own the gym, you probably end up caring more about safety, because you need to keep everyone happy, healthy, and safe. And if you're just an instructor, maybe it's not really on your mind. You're just okay. The gym owner will talk about safety or something like that. I'll just teach jiu-jitsu technique, but yeah, safety should be emphasized at every possible opportunity, especially because it is such a sport that it's like a combat sport aimed to like choke people and, break their limbs and stuff like that. So yeah, like that, there should be extra emphasis on safety for something like that.
Yeah. Do you think? How do you think jiu-jitsu culture plays into this, like lack of safety, or not even lack of safety, but lack of longevity? You see, I mean, everyone has that, purple or brown belt or even black belt at their gym that, has to crawl their way to the mats because they're so broken and all like hunched over with slip disc and the bung knee, the multiple surgeries. How do you think? First of all, how do you think jiu-jitsu culture impacts that? And how does something like the course that we put together, in your own sort of opinion, how do you think that prevents you from ending up in that situation?
Yeah, so I think jiu-jitsu culture in general, it's like improving kind of slowly, but it is improving. Like just in general, there's a lot of things in jiu-jitsu culture that need work, and people are getting called out on it, and it's improving. But yeah, and one aspect of it, it's like everyday pahada. It's like train hard all the time, and just ignore injuries, train anyways. Just tape it up. And it's kind of like some of it's like almost like a tongue-in-cheek like type joke, like just tape it up and come. But that is the mentality a lot of people do have. And
Yeah.
Gordon Ryan sometimes talks about like just the level of jiu-jitsu being like very unprofessional. Yeah, but it can be really unprofessional, and I agree with that. It's like it's one of the least professional sports, unfortunately, in the sense of like like runners and people involved in that type of stuff, they really take care of their body more. They understand like how to train smart. Like they really have a more scientific approach to it. And just like show up, train hard, and then go home, and then come up the next day, train hard. And it's just like that's not the way to do it. It's like very similar to like gym culture. It's like the bros will be like, we got to lift every day super hard and like and get jacked. But then you see like the more senior, you see the more senior guys, like the more, the guys that have been through the ropes and, been through it all and been there, done that. They understand the importance of recovery and training smart with good form. So it has a lot of parallels to that realm, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. That reminds me of, are you familiar with Louis Simmons on West Side Barbell? Like literally, I think one of the stories is he had surgery, and the next day he was like trying to fucking 1 rep max on the bench, and just insane, like terrible for your body long term, but yeah, I mean, those guys were definitely everyday Pohada. But yeah, that totally is the culture, and you're encouraged by being around it. And even jokes like just tape it and come anyway, and like having to dig at your mate for not coming in because their leg sore, or then they've got a bung knee or something like that. That's commonplace, and it's all in jest, but I suppose it points to the bigger picture of the culture aspect. And it doesn't take long for you to be indoctrinated into that and start not only believing it but also implementing it. And I mean, I'm sure that you've seen the long-term impacts of that sort of everyday pahada on some of the senior belts.
Yeah, man. I know a lot of people that have such a hard time training now or can't train at all. Like one of my like my best like training partners back in the day, he can't train anymore because his neck's all messed up. So it really sucks because I love training with him. He's a good friend, and yeah, now I can't train with him because he just did too many bad things for his neck, like staying inverted too long and just letting himself get stacked, all these other issues. And that's just stuff that can be avoided. And if you were to avoid that, then you could train still. And I think just in general, jiu-jitsu culture, there's so many things that are getting phased out, and but like slowly. So I'm trying to like expedite that process, because like even like things like jiu-jitsu can be really culty. And especially like 10 years ago when I started, oh my God, people don't realize how culty it was. And the progression is made to be so much less culty now, but there's still like, there's still some really culty gyms in the sense of like they have like hero worship for their coach. They have like complete like loyalty to them, and they like bow down to them type of thing. And it's really just a strange thing. Like the instructor like controls them, and that was really normal 10 years ago. That was like kind of what I experienced. And but now it's like people don't like that kind of stuff. There's a lot of pushback, but there's still things from like past jiu-jitsu culture or like traditional jiu-jitsu culture that haven't been phased out yet. So yeah, one of them is like just everyday pojada, train as hard as you want, and just, ignore injuries. And yeah, that's like slowly getting phased out, but it's got to be phased out sooner. So yeah, with the course, yeah, I think it's a really good way to get people really thinking about safety and longevity, and yeah, doing everything right.
So in your experience, then, what other aspects of what else can someone do in terms of their jiu-jitsu? So we've addressed like safety on the mats, and being aware of positions, aware of your body and your actions and how they'll impact your training partner, and things that you need to watch out for from your training partner's perspective. But in terms of strength and conditioning and mobility practice, how has that helped your jiu-jitsu? Because you're a fit dude. For those that haven't seen Jordan's YouTube channel, check it out. He's no slouch. Definitely fit as fuck. So
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you. And I think yeah, I think it's helped so much because, when I was smaller, I felt like way more injury prone. And so now I'm like 195 pounds, and I just feel like super solid. I feel like, I'm going to have a really hard time getting injured because, I can control where the roll goes. I can control my body and other people's ability to manipulate my body because I have the strength to do that. Right. So I obviously have great technique, but, I said it last time we talked too, like, having strength in jiu-jitsu is like having money when you're dating. And that's a really beneficial thing. It helps so much. Like, you can definitely, if you got a great personality and, or whatever it is, like you can definitely have a successful dating experience. But if you have money too, I mean, there's no way around it. It's like, you're just that much more of a catch. And it's the same thing with jiu-jitsu. It's like, if you have money and you have shit personality and shit everything else, like, it's not really going to help you too much. But same with jiu-jitsu. If you have only strength, you don't have technique, that's not going to help you. So not only does strength help you, in your actual jiu-jitsu and get better, but it keeps you safe because now you have actual, you can't be manipulated super easy, and you're not just going to fall over your limb and hurt yourself. You have the ability to actually like give resistance back. So yeah, just having like the padding around like muscle, like being like padding around around your joints, everything like that. Like
yeah,
that's
that's
so
a big
important.
one.
Yeah, because if you hurt your knee or whatever it is, or shoulder, the conventional wisdom is always, which is true, like to build up the muscle around it. But why not build up the muscle before you even get injured to prevent the injury in the first place? So, I think it's a really under talked about aspect of jiu-jitsu longevity and training itself. It's like almost like sometimes people say like, you want to get stronger, just do more jiu-jitsu. You want to get better cardio, just do more jiu-jitsu. You just got to do more jiu-jitsu. But that's not the right approach at all. And other sports don't take that approach. It's not like, you want to get better at football, you play more football. It's like, no, you like put in the work and the strength and conditioning, and that's going to keep you safe too. Even things like, strengthening your neck, it can help your actual, prevent your neck from getting hurt. But it can also prevent concussions because now like you have more stability in your actual like with your head and everything, because a concussion results from your brain rattling once it gets hit. So if you have like more strength in your neck, it's less likely to do that. So there's so many benefits to having strength in jiu-jitsu. Longevity is just one of them. Performance is also another great benefit of it.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, it's probably one of the most common, not mistakes, but most common neglected areas I see for jiu-jitsu guys is their strength training. And I think that a lot of people don't know the importance of it. They think that, well, the thing is, a lot of people get into jiu-jitsu as a form of fitness. Like some people don't like lifting weights. Like take my co-host Adam. He said on the podcast so many times, like he does not like lifting weights. He doesn't find it enjoyable, so he doesn't do it. But he knows. The difference is that he has been in the game long enough, and he has the information. I've told him enough times. Everyone's told him, that he understands that it's significant to not only jiu-jitsu performance, but also protecting your joints. Obviously, he does a bit, but not as much as he would like. But still, he knows. But I think that a lot of the time, people don't really know how important it is to strength train or to work on mobility, and it will not only make your jiu-jitsu better, it will make it more enjoyable. Because, I mean, if you know that you're safe on the mats and you feel comfortable and strong in positions, then you can enjoy the sport more because you're going to be safe.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of times people, they don't yeah, they don't understand not only how important strength is, but like maybe they understand it, but they don't want to do it. So like they understand, but they're like, I still don't want to do it. And not just strength, mobility too. They're like, I don't got any time to, stretch and do mobility exercises, or, like just eating like junk food's more appealing than eating healthy. And, for a long time, I did eat really poorly. Like, there's a huge change in like my body, like from like when I was like a lower belt to when I am now, because I eat so much more healthy, like really understand the importance of protein and, eating adequate
Mhm.
amount of calories, and eating like, nutrient dense foods. So people ask me, what my diet's like and what my strength, everything like that, what, my routine is. And like, because they're just like really surprised that I don't like lift a whole lot right now, because I've just been super busy, but I keep a lot of strength on still because I've lifted over the years for
Mhm.
so long, and, been doing jujitsu. So it's like I feel like you can really build a base just from really really quickly and utilize it to your like so well.
Yeah, I think in that aspect, Jordan, you are definitely the exception and not the rule, my friend, because you have such a strong foundation of muscle from lifting for so many years. So I think you're exactly right. Jiu-jitsu is a sport that can definitely maintain your muscle mass and grow muscle mass for a lot of people as well. But yeah, for someone like yourself, you have such a strong foundation that jiu-jitsu is just maintaining for you, which is awesome. So I think you're right. It's important for people to get to that base level, to get their cardio base sorted, to get themselves in a solid mobility routine. And you'd be surprised. You don't have to go to the gym and lift weights every day, because for someone that's training in the volume of someone like yourself or me, it's not really realistic to go lift weights every day. Like, I mean, realistically, it's probably like 2, maximum 3 times a week, and that's more than enough. That's more than adequate to make you hella strong.
And
So,
the problem is when they do want to start getting into lifting, they go way too hard right off the bat, and they start trying to lift every day. They're like, I'm going to make a commitment. I'm going to train every day, or maybe every other day, or whatever times it is. And, I think it's really important to have more of a program and rather than just winging it. And just because then if you wing it, you rely on motivation, and, and you can easily just like kind of fall off. But if you have a program, it's hard to go too hard and it's hard to go too light, because you just follow the program, which is, set out for you by someone that knows what they're doing. And a lot of times people, when they just do it themselves, they don't know what they're doing, and then they get injured or they just fall off.
mm,
And it's really important to, follow a program.
yeah, I totally agree. And I mean, that's kind of the fox guarding the hen's house for me, being a PT. But like, it's just fact. It's the way it is, man. So why do you think no one has created something like the BJJ Performance and Longevity course before? So I don't think we've actually officially stated, the modules. Just quickly for the audience listening, I think you're probably clued in now. It's broken up into 4 sections. The 2 main sections, but 4 categories or topics, if you will. The first one being safety on the mats and longevity, and we spoke at length about that, and that is championed by Jordan. And there's a section on strength and conditioning and mobility, and also a section on nutrition. Now, if you want to hear more about those sections, we're gonna be doing a separate podcast that's gonna air on both mine and Jordan's podcast, so you can feel free to listen to that. Think of it as like a part 2, if you will. Roles are reversed, but that would be really good. So please support Jordan's podcast and head over and listen to that as well. So, but why, Jordan, in your own words, like, why do you think no one has created something like this before? Why haven't we seen it yet? Why doesn't this product exist?
I think the main reason is, well, there's a couple of reasons, but the main reason is probably, I just think that a lot of people in jiu-jitsu don't really innovate, and they just do things the way it's always been done. So,
So
they're
true.
thinking, yeah, they think I got to sell instructional. Well, it's got to be only on a technique or whatever. And, yeah, it's really kind of funny because I ask myself that all the time with all my things I do on the channel, and just put out there, with content creation. I'm like, how did no one think of this first? And why is no one doing it like this? So like, yeah, I think it's just one of those things. It's like no one really thought to do it, and because and maybe they don't have maybe the motivation or expertise. I don't know. Just like
Mm.
safety matters so much to me, and I really advocate it so much, and so that's something I really want to put out there. And I know so many people, you know, they have the same kind of mindset I have. They just want to train for a long time and they don't want to get hurt and they want to have maximum performance. So, you know, I feel like putting something together has everything is so smart and so, and yeah, just such a good thing to do, because it's like hard to, there's so much information out there when it comes to like, you know, especially like your part of it where it's like, you know, like mobility and nutrition, strength and conditioning. There's so much stuff out there. It's hard to navigate what's wrong and what's right and what's best for jiu-jitsu. So, you know, really what we did was put the package together that's like specific to jiu-jitsu, and, you know, it's all like, you know, very cohesive and well thought out by people that know what they're doing.
Couldn't have put it better myself, Jordan. Totally agree, man. Well, yeah, I just want to say thanks. Thank you so much for coming on to the Beyond Jiu-Jitsu podcast. We'll have to get you on again when Adam's on as well. I know that we're gonna get comments asking for that, so we'll definitely have to get you on again soon. But for those that are interested in the course, you can find the course. A direct link will be in the description of this episode, whether you're listening on whatever platform you're listening, Spotify, YouTube, and you'll see plenty of content coming out on both mine and Jordan's channels about it in the coming weeks. I'm definite of that. But if you do want to get access, there will be a discount code in the description of this episode as well. So go check it out. And yeah, Jordan, thanks again for coming on to the Beyond Jiu-Jitsu podcast, man. It's great to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And I can't wait to be on with Adam too. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, don't get too excited. He's not that great. I'm joking. We love you, Adam. He'll listen to this. Awesome, guys. Thanks so much for listening. And until next time, see ya.